A recent survey suggested the biggest barrier to owning an EV was cost. It's true, electric cars are more expensive than their petrol-powered counterparts. But I think you have to look beyond the showroom prices and factor in the long-term running costs. My colleague and custom car maker Jimmy DeVille is clinging to the idea that his beloved petrol power
listen to that,
costs less overall. So, to help me finally settle this score, I've taken the UK's best-selling car from last year, the Vauxhall Corsa, and I'm going to put it up against the EV version, which costs nearly 20% more than its petrol-powered twin.
So, almost £4,500 more. My case is closed, Rory, and I'm out of here.
Hang on, how about we look at the total cost of ownership over, say, 4 years?
That is a lot of ground to make up, Rory.
Challenge accepted. Should we start by looking at the petrol version?
Come on then, I'm
All right.
driving.
First, a couple of constants. We'll assume that each car has been bought using the UK's most popular way for buying a car, a monthly PCP contract over 4 years, and base our sums on both doing the UK average mileage of 7,500 miles per year.
And this is where the math starts.
Yes, so I'm going to break out my little calculator.
I knew you'd bring that along. That is a magnificent beast.
I'm not overcompensating for anything. With an MPG figure of 48.7 and petrol at £1.31 a litre, it will cost you £913.95 to cover 7,500 miles. Over 4 years, that's £3,655.
See, that's already got me worried because this car was about £4,500 cheaper, but that fuel price is already getting close.
Yeah, we're nearly there, aren't we? When you add the cost of road tax, maintenance and servicing, the petrol-powered Corsa owner is looking at spending an additional £5,745 on top of the purchase costs.
Right, it's probably time for us to take a little drive out in that electric car, isn't it?
Let's do it. You feel that? How smooth is that?
Don't start.
That is progress. How good is that compared to the petrol?
I will give it to you. This is lovely and quite an experience.
But what is the true cost of this more refined experience? Let's do the maths.
So where you're going to win if you buy this car is if you have the ability to park off-street and charge at home on a really cheap electricity tariff. The cheapest of which I've found is around sort of 5 pence per kilowatt hour.
I mean, that is already sounding cheap.
Independent tests have shown that the Corsa E will achieve 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. We know we're going to do 7,500 miles per year. Break out your calculator, please.
I have been looking forward to this. I mean, this is quite a thing, isn't it?
It is a hell of a thing. So can you put in 7,500
Okay.
divided by 3.8?
Which is my kilowatt hours.
Yep.
Equals, so I'm going to need 1,973 kilowatt hours per year to drive my 7,500 miles.
And when you multiply that by the cheap electricity tariff of 5p per kilowatt hour,
You're going to love this.
you get...
What's the number? What's the number?
No,
What's the number?
this is a dodgy calculator. £98.68p to drive 7,500 miles.
A year.
Is that honestly right?
Yeah, honestly.
That's ridiculous.
But let's be generous to the petrol car and assume that instead of a super cheap electricity rate, you're more likely to be using your regular household electricity tariff. That figure jumps from £98 to about £290, so around 1,100 quid when spread out over 4 years, but still less than a third of the petrol cost.
What about the running costs of the vehicle?
Electric cars aren't subject to road tax,
Yep.
and that's been guaranteed to stay that way until at least 2024. With fewer moving parts on EVs, servicing and maintaining the electric Corsa will cost £929 over 4 years. That's less than half the price of the petrol version. Throw in electric at £1,162.
And that gives a grand total of £2,091 to drive this car for 4 years, going 7,500 miles a year. I mean,
That's ridiculous.
even I have to admit, that's cheap.
There's still one more figure to add before we can arrive at the handy monthly cost comparison between the two. The personal finance repayments on each vehicle.
Right, Jimmy, let's do some maths, shall we?
I am feeling like your sexy assistant ready to go.
Oh, that's a bad thought.
Even with the slightly higher monthly finance payments required for the electric Corsa, about £285 versus £260, it soon becomes apparent that the cost of running the petrol car every month would be more. A lot more.
This pains me to write this, Rory. £50 and 59p a month.
Every single month. That's right, the electric Corsa might be the pricier car when you're stood in the showroom, but crunch the numbers over 4 years and you'll be nearly $2.5 grand better off.
I started off sceptical with all
You did.
this, but the numbers do speak for themselves. It is clear that electric per month is way, way cheaper.
You didn't believe me, did you?
I didn't know.
Mic drop, even though it's not a mic.